Hello guys and gals and welcome! So today we're going to be going over another legendary aspect, and this one is a pretty nice one. It's called the Mage-Lords aspect. I've pretty much run out of all-purpose aspects, so we're going to start broaching into the class specifics. Now the Mage-Lords aspect actually has an interesting past. It was believed to be in the game back in like patch 1.14 and stuff like that, but apparently it wasn't, and it was added into the game later. So a lot of people thought that it just didn't exist, or it was really, really difficult to get. And it turns out it wasn't even in the game, which was kind of funny. But we knew about its existence before. Now, the Mage-Lord's aspect actually works off of the Veer's Mastery passive. So if you're not using the Veer's Mastery passive, then this aspect doesn't really do you any good. So first let's go over Veer's Mastery. So Veer's Mastery is close enemies take 15% times increased damage from your shock skills and deal 20% less damage to you. Critical strikes increase these bonuses by 25% for 3 seconds. So basically you get a nice little damage reduction for monsters that are within close range. And for those of you who are unaware what close range is, I can very simply demonstrate it. If you're standing in the middle of the waypoint for Kyovashad, which standing in the middle is often difficult because my doesn't want to go stand in the middle, you'll see that you have this stone circle. Okay, anything inside the stone circle is considered close. Anything outside the stone circle is considered distant. Think about it like that. All right. So anything inside of this stone circle is considered close, which is anything that's really going to be wailing on you. So generally, you get a pretty nice damage reduction for using Veer's Mastery. However, the Mage-Lords aspect, which is even better, gives you an additional damage reduction for using Veer's Mastery. So it says the Veer's Mastery key passive also grants 9% times damage reduction, 6 to 9, up to, for every close enemy, up to 27%, which is pretty nice. Now, to get to that 27%, you can very easily just divide it on a calculator. So how many monsters do we need to hit 27%? Well, we take 27% and we divide that by 9, and we get 3. So you only need 3 monsters within range at 9% to hit the 27% cap, which is actually pretty nice. So as long as you have at least 3 monsters within range, you're getting a 27% damage reduction, which is absolutely insane. And of course you have to use the Veer's Mastery, and this of course stacks with the damage reduction that you're getting from Veer's Mastery already, which is a 20% increase. And then on top of that, critical strikes increase these bonuses by 25%, which means that your 20% is actually going up even higher than that on Veer's Mastery, which is pretty powerful. Basically, it turns you into a very tanky character. This is something that you definitely want to be using on your Ball Lightning Sorceress, any character that you're going to have within close range. In fact, most damage tends to come from close anyway. There's very few monsters in the game that really put out a large amount of damage at distance. The Bone Thrall Ballista is one of those. But for the most part, if you're trying to make your character tankier, your Sorceress tankier, Veer's Mastery is definitely a very interesting way to go if you're a Lightning Sorceress and you're using the Veer's Mastery key passive. I've played around with the Veer's Mastery key passive before, even before the Battle Mage aspect was added into the game, and it definitely does increase your tankiness significantly. But adding in the Mage-Lord's defensive aspect just makes it even better. Because you get an additional 27% on top of the 20% that you're getting from the Veer's Mastery itself. And it really doesn't take a whole lot to reach that 27% cap either. As you saw, it only takes 3 monsters. And at least 1 monster still gives you a 9% damage reduction, which is still a pretty good amount of additional damage reduction. And 2 is 18%. So you're at least getting 18% damage reduction for even if there's just 2 monsters nearby, which is a lot. It does go in Helm, Chest, Pants, and Amulet slot. And if you are trying to get your hands on this, I would recommend that you head on over to Diablo 4.life, because Diablo 4.life has a handy-dandy gambling tool calculator that Proner and I have developed. And if you go over here to Tools and then Gambling Aspects, you can type in Mage. Of course, you got to click on Sorcerer. And we go to... Is it Mage? Yeah, Mage-Lords with a dash. That's right. And as you can see here, it says the best thing to gamble for the Mage-Lords is pants on the Sorceress. So if you want to try and get these, you can see that the shield, well, she doesn't have a shield, but chest armor and helm, those are your like worst ones, as well as the amulet, 0.026. But the pants have a 0.179 because there's the least number of competing aspects in those slots. This is a good tool to use if you're trying to gamble up aspects, because you can put in any aspect you want, and it'll tell you pretty much what the best possibilities are for gambling from the Purveyor of Curiosities. Obviously, with this one, you do want to get a perfect one, because if you don't get a perfect one, you're not going to get very good on the damage reduction. A low-end one would be 6%, and that would cap out at 18% instead of 27%, and that's a pretty big difference. I mean, you're talking about, what, a 9% difference between the two? 18, 19, 20, 7, 8, 9, yeah, 9% difference of damage reduction for not having the higher end version. You can also put this on an amulet, which is really interesting, and let's see what it does when you put it on an amulet. I'm always curious, because sometimes that 50% bonus is nice, and sometimes the 50% bonus is not so nice. Let's see how that 50% bonus calculates on an amulet. So it goes to 13.5% with a cap of 40.5%. Wow, that's actually massive. So a 40.5% damage reduction from close for 3 enemies nearby. That's actually a really solid option for an amulet choice. Obviously, you'd be giving up a little bit of offensive capability by putting that on your amulet, because most people put offensive choices on your amulet. But if you're really trying to make your sorceress as tanky as possible, an additional 40.5% damage reduction is massive. I mean, that's a 50% increase, but what is that exactly? Let's run that on a calculator real quick. So, 40.5 minus 27. That's a 13.5% damage reduction from close increase. The other important thing here that you have to remember is that this is going to be a single 40.5% damage reduction. And in damage reduction, the bigger damage reductions tend to go first, and they also tend to be more valuable than the smaller damage reductions, because of the way that damage reduction works, because it's cumulative. So you end up with one damage reduction applying, and then the next one applying, and then the next one applying in order or in sequence. And this means that you get less damage reduction for each additional damage reduction source. However, having one large 40.5% there is massive. That's pretty impressive. I didn't realize that it actually went up that much. Sometimes when you put these on things on an amulet, they don't really go up in the right ways. Like one thing will increase, like maybe the 13.5 would increase, but not the total cap would increase, so it would stay at 27%. It would just be easier to reach the cap. In this particular case, the passive bonus increases, and also the maximum cap increases as well. So, I'm actually kind of curious if this... So this is also kind of a sticking point here, which could make it even more powerful, and I'm not sure. The Veer Mastery's key passive already provides 20% damage reduction from close. It also gives you a bonus of 25% for 3 seconds when you critical strike, which means that you end up with even more than that. And the Mage-Lord's aspect sounds like it literally applies directly to the Veer's Mastery key passive, which means that 47%, or that 40.5%, might actually add directly to the 20, giving you a massive, 60.5% damage reduction? If they do add together instead of stacking, like 20, 20, 20, 20, if instead of stacking 20, 20, 20, 20, they're just literally all adding together, then they're going to be a lot more powerful. The Mage-Lords definitely is, though, an extremely powerful one for making your sorceress tanky. It's a no-brainer. It's much more powerful than, for instance, the Might aspect, which gives you 20% damage reduction. I'm not sure if I have one of those sitting around in here. And it's much more powerful than the aspect of Disobedience. I mean, you're talking about 27% flat damage reduction from any monster that's close to you. Stacking on top of the 20% from Veer's Mastery, giving you a massive amount of damage reduction. I think that's pretty much it for this particular aspect. We're going to be covering, I think, Engulfing Flames next. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, and keep watching.